Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you. We say very often two important names of Allah, Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. Do you know what they mean? Do you know how great they are? What can we learn from them? In this lesson, you will find answers to all those questions. Welcome to our bite-sized lessons for understanding the Quran and learning some Arabic. Although it is not a formal way of learning Arabic, it's a practical and effective way to get familiar with the language of the Quran. In this lesson, we will be talking about Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. This is the second part of 3 lessons in this series. First lesson talks about Bismillah. The third lesson talks about Auzubillah. Be sure to watch them as well. First, let's look at the meaning of these names. There are no exact words in English that are equivalent to these names. So experts have translated using different but similar words. The truth is, we need a lot more than a few words to understand these special names and the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you look at some of the popular translations of the Quran, Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim are translated using words such as the entirely merciful, the especially merciful, the most beneficent, the most merciful, most gracious, most merciful, the compassionate, the Lord of mercy, the giver of mercy. Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim, these two names of Allah refer to Allah's attribute of being merciful. Although they sound similar and related, the meanings are different. Ar-Rahman refers to the vastness of Allah's mercy, and Ar-Rahim refers specifically to His mercy which He bestows on His creation. Ar-Rahman describes the aspect of the source of all creation which He showers all of creation with blessings and prosperity without any disparity. He does not discriminate believers, disbelievers, good people, bad people, animals or plants. He provides to all in the universe as Ar-Rahman. It is about endlessly embracing all of creation. Rahman conveys the idea of fullness and extensiveness, indicating the great quality of mercy and grace which is showered over all of creation without any effort or request on our part. On the other hand, Ar-Rahim describes the aspect of continuous manifestation of the mercy in our lives and His blessings on us as a result of our faith in Him and our deeds. As a result of these attributes of Allah, we can see that all humans and species on earth enjoy the bounties of Allah, such as air, water, light, and many more things, even if they didn't ask for any of these things. Additionally, righteous people earn extra blessings in this world and or hereafter through their actions. The bottom line is that Allah's mercy and compassion are endless and beyond our ability to quantify. That is the key point to keep in mind. Before I move on, for many of us, mercy and compassion may mean the same, but there is a slight distinction. Compassion is a feeling of deep sympathy, concern, and sorrow for the suffering, accompanied by a strong desire to alleviate that suffering. Note that compassion is not just feeling sorry for the person suffering, but to have a strong concern and desire to help the person to relieve suffering. On the other hand, mercy is something that you show towards someone who owes you and then you relieve him. For instance, someone owes you some money, you show some mercy and forgive his debt. On the other hand, compassion is for anyone who may be in need, you just give compassion, in return nothing. This distinction is very important to understand Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. In the Quran, we can find many ayahs that explain Allah's mercy and compassion toward His creatures and the people who obey Him. Let's look at this hadith. When Allah completed the creation, He wrote in His book with Him upon the throne, "Truly, my mercy prevails over my anger." That means Allah's mercy is greater than His anger. In another hadith, it says, Allah is more merciful to His servants than a mother is to her child. Moving on, Our earlier lesson taught us that Bismillah means in the name of Allah. Bismillah often follows these two names, like bismillāhi-rraḥmāni-rraḥīm, which means in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. We call this basmala. Also, as you know, this is an ayah in Surah Al-Fatiha, the first chapter of the Quran. So the question is, why do we say bismillāhi-rraḥmāni-rraḥīm? There are many times where we say Rahman and Ar-Rahim after we say Allah. This is to recognize and honor Allah's kindness, blessings, compassion, and generosity with His entire creation. In the Quran, all the surahs except for one begin with bismillāhi-rraḥmāni-rraḥīm. This reminds us that whatever part of the Quran we are reading, we should always remember Allah's mercy and compassion. As Allah says in Quran, the Quran is a blessing, mercy, and healing to the believers. In addition, it is to remind ourselves about Allah's endless mercy and compassion. The next question is, from these attributes of Allah, what do we learn? Let's look at one important hadith. It says, "Those who are merciful will be shown mercy by the Most Merciful. Be merciful to those on the earth, and the one in the heavens will have mercy upon you." This hadith refers to Allah's mercy. Here, the Most Merciful is referring to Allah. So these attributes of Allah teach us about important values that we should cultivate within ourselves. What we learn here is that we should try to be compassionate and merciful in our day-to-day life. This means we should be kind and generous with all of whom we deal with, including fellow humans, animals, environments, and everything else around us. That's about a brief meaning of Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim. Please note that these names are so deep, only Allah knows them best. May Allah forgive us for our shortcomings. Now, moving to the Arabic part. In this lesson, we don't have anything other than the names. However, I would like to share something about the root words of these two names. Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim both have a three-letter common root, which is Ra, Ha, Mim. You can call it Rahama. This root represents utmost tenderness, which provides protection and nourishment, and that from which all of creation is brought into being. The root Rahma includes meanings of womb, kinship, relationship, loving kindness, mercy, compassion, and nourishing tenderness. Thus, both Rahman and Rahim point toward that which emerges from the source of all creation, while also conveying a sense of tenderness, loving kindness, protection, and nourishment. Inshallah, we will learn about Allah's various names in the following lessons. Please check out our channel. Before we end, let me summarize. Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim are two important names of Allah that remind us Allah's vast mercy and compassion towards His creations. Allah's mercy is so vast that words may not be enough to quantify. We need to recognize and appreciate this as often as possible. Whenever you use these names, make sure you ponder and study this fact in your mind until you internalize it. Next, make sure you say bismillāhi-rraḥmāni-rraḥīm, which means in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, when we begin something, so that we are always reminded of Allah's mercy. Finally, consider our important lesson from this to always be kind and generous to others so that Allah is merciful to us. Before we end, you often hear that Allah is followed by Subhanahu wa ta'ala. That means glory to Him, the Exalted. It is a good and beneficial practice to take upon yourself. We will learn about that in the following lessons, inshallah. Make sure you check out that series. That's another bite-sized lesson from the Quran about Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Make sure you watch other two lessons in this series, Bismillah and Auzubillah. I hope you enjoyed and benefited from this video. If you did, please give thumbs up and share it, and be part of our mission to spread this noble message. If you would like to follow the rest of the series, please click subscribe and the bell icon for notifications. We also have many more bite-sized lessons to help you understand Quran, Islam, and learn the language of the Quran. Visit our channel page to see all those videos. To download a one-page summary of this lesson and a practice sheet of the Arabic words, just click the link in the description. All our content is free. Peace be upon you. Inshallah, see you in the next lesson.